Defensively, this is as good as it gets. Talented, he's a leader, and he is tough.
7-time Pro Bowler.
Hall of Famer Dwight Freeney. Wow. Big hit. It's Freeney. Nowhere to go. Sacked again. Down he goes. Knocked to the turf again. Freeney, the star in the NFL.
We're joined now by former All-Pro defensive end, Super Bowl champion, and one of the greatest pass rushers ever, Dwight Freeney. Welcome to Undisputed.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Good to have you. So let's get to a team that you battled for many years, the Patriots. There's been a lot of drama surrounding them for months. This week, Tom Brady was asked if he feels appreciated and said, quote, "I plead the fifth." Then a report came out that the Patriots almost traded up in the draft for Baker Mayfield. So, Dwight, what is your take on all the drama in New England?
Well, I mean, I think over there, I think they're used to winning. They're winning Super Bowls. So it's not uncommon for there to be some type of, I don't know, anxiety or stress there because of that. And also, Tom is, 41. So he's getting older. So they also know that at some point, things will change. So I think there's nothing wrong with kind of planning for the future. And I don't think anything's wrong with that. Every other position has to do it. Yeah. You've been there. You know what it is. So I think all this anxiety is just, the fact that they didn't win and Tom's getting older.
How much longer do you think he can play at the level he played at last year?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think the level last year was unique. I think he could still have a great year. I don't think his skills are diminished. They're asking him to do a whole bunch other than, here's the check down, throw the check down. Sometimes you have to read the coverage, but the coverage, once you understand the game, you know it. So that never changes. So as long as they're not asking him to throw the ball 40, 50 yards down the field all the time, which their scheme isn't one of those schemes that they ask him to do that, he should be fine as long as they can protect him. So, I mean, will he have another year like last year? I doubt it. But will he have a good year? I think he will. I mean, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time with the same system for how many years now? I don't even know how many, 100 years, whatever, right?
I think, not only does his line protect him, but the league, the way they've instituted the rules, protect the quarterback now. Yeah. See, I think the tension, they lost, and everybody's disappointed about the loss. I think where the friction really starts to come in is between Coach Belichick and Tom Brady. You mentioned it's okay to start preparing for the future. Well, Tom was okay with that until preparing for the future meant preparing someone to take his job. And then all of a sudden, that's when this all hell broke loose with the report that Seth Wickersham came out that Mr. Kraft instructed Coach Belichick, to find a home for Jimmy Garoppolo to clear the decks for Tom Brady because Brady was becoming uncomfortable because he saw the writing on the wall, what Coach Belichick had envisioned. Is that the bridge between where we are right now and into the future is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm moving on from Tom Brady.
Well, I think you have to move on at some point, and regardless if the player feels uncomfortable, tough luck, welcome to the world of the NFL.
Right.
We all feel, I guess, somewhat uncomfortable at some point, but, he's had a great career. I don't know how many seasons it is for Tom now, 18, 19, or whatever it is. I mean, how many quarterbacks can say that? So I'm sure he knows that at some point it will have to come to an end. I don't know how true the whole report is that he felt nervous about Garoppolo. I highly, highly doubt that. But in the end, you know what? He's a great player, and I'm sure they'll figure it out somehow.
So I want to know what you saw inside Brady's psyche competing against him at the highest level. Did you talk? Did he talk back? Did you have any conversation in those heated moments?
Well, you know what? Me and Tom, I've played Tom. It's almost like he played in the same division.
That's correct.
With me. I mean, we played pretty much at one period of time twice a year. And but he's not a big talker on the field, and I'm not a huge talker. We talk a little bit maybe if we see each other, before the games or what have you. But we don't really speak too often. We always give each other probably looks. Like, you know what? I was almost there. I'm glad, you threw that ball. And for him, he's like, I got you that time. It's one of those types of things. I think the biggest thing with Tom is his mental game, and as far as stability and as far as his calmness is the greatest, attribute that he has, to where as though a lot of quarterbacks get rattled in the pocket. Yep. He doesn't get rattled. And I don't know if that's because how comfortable he is in the pocket, how well he knows the scheme and things of that nature. But, very few times do I get back there and he's over here trying to, duck or dive or get away from me? He's pretty much throwing that ball.
So compare it to what happened to Peyton at the end in Indianapolis, because you were obviously close to that situation. Was that premature? See, there's an owner who said, I've seen enough. He's on the downside. He's got issues, injury issues that our doctors are saying he's not going to recover from. Peyton's doctors are saying he's going to be okay. And your owner in Indianapolis finally said, you know what? I got a chance to draft this kid from Stanford, and I am going forward. It's sort of a Jimmy G situation where Belichick handpicked Jimmy Garoppolo and said, this next coming football season, I want to go forward with him. It's time to send Tom out the back door. And so you patted Peyton on the head and you pushed him out the back door. Was that premature?
I think it was. I can understand it from both sides, though. And obviously, hindsight's 2020. We all know what happened after. But in the moment, we didn't know if Peyton was coming back that year. That whole year, I think it was a lockout year or something like that. And we were preparing for him to come back, and he didn't show up. And we kept thinking he was going to come. Never did. So I think that scared the Colts in saying, okay, is this guy ever going to come back? And at the time, guys really didn't know. I mean, we all had faith in him. We know what type of competitor he is. But, with a neck and that type of injury, that's a tough deal. Right. They're talking about one hit, and all of a sudden your career could be over. How do you not plan for the future in that scenario when you're sitting there with the number one pick of the draft and you have an opportunity to get another person? So I could see it from both sides. Obviously, it wasn't the right move because it would have been great for Peyton to be there, and you could still draft Luck. Okay, you had to manage that whole relationship, but it could have been kind of like a Brett Favre and Rodgers type of deal, to where it was 4 or 5 years into it, you're learning from the greatest, you're learning from the best, and then you come in at some point and take over. I think that would have been the best scenario, but I think Luck was such a great quarterback at the time, coming out, he could do everything. It's hard to keep him off the field. So, like I said, I could see it from both sides.
But you had a really good football team, still good enough to go win another Super Bowl. And what happened? He should have won two straight MVPs, right? Because Adrian Peterson won the first one.
What was the major? You played with Luck, right?
Yeah.
What's the biggest difference that you see between Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious thing is the mobility. I think, Andrew, when things get bad or rough or tough or uncomfortable, he can use his feet. He can run, scramble. He can run guys over and throw off his, Peyton's a pocket passer. That's it. Peyton ain't running from nobody. Okay? Yeah. So he's in that pocket. He's going to dice you up. If that pass isn't there, he's probably going to get a sack. Right. But he will probably come back and get you for another 20 yards after that. But that's the difference between those guys.
I want to ask you something about 2 years ago. You was on that team, had a 25-point lead.
Oof. Yeah, don't bring that.
What happened? Freeney, what happened?
Oh, my God. Why would you bring that back up?
Super Bowl. The Falcons versus the Patriots.
Yeah. Well, I think it had a lot to do with an experience. I think the experience of the Patriots being in those situations, and I think the lack of experience from us. I think, from a play call standpoint, play making standpoint, I think we could have done obviously a lot better job. When you have that type of lead, now the clock is your friend. Right. And I think that we should have probably, obviously looking back on it, using the clock to our favor. We could have ran the ball. I think we had Freeman back there. He had over 100-some-odd yards rushing, and there was nothing wrong with running the ball. But I think for us, we were such an aggressive team. And the fact that all year, we went out and drove down the field passing the ball, when we had all the accolades of that, I felt like we were a little bit too confident in that, and rather than being smart and saying, you know what, we don't need to score another 20 or 14 or whatever points. So all we need to do is run the ball, manage the clock, and let them try to play catch-up and give them the less amount of attempts or opportunities to get back at it. I think at some point, the defense had about 90 plays. Yeah. I was dead tired. Now, at that stage, I was only used to playing about 20, 25, right. 30. And I'm looking at my clicker, I'm like 70. I'm like, man, what is this, 2005? Right.
Is it possible you were just up against the greatest quarterback ever and he was not going to be denied?
Well, I think that he is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. You know,
Why
I think
not?
he's well. I mean, who do you? What do you? You know, in the end, was it championships that define a quarterback as one of the greatest? I mean, but there's a lot of other players on that field, and what contributes to being a champion. I think football is the one sport where you can honestly say this isn't basketball. With basketball, it's you got one guy who play offense, one guy play defense, and the same guy play offense and defense and run on the court. It's completely different in
So
football.
are you giving Belichick more credit than Brady?
I'm definitely not doing that, but Belichick is a mastermind. I mean,
Mastermind.
Yeah, he was
he
such
is
a
a
mastermind that he, wait a second, he left Malcolm Butler on the sideline for a whole Super Bowl last season?
Well, but look at this. Regardless of what happens with the Patriots, when Brady got hurt a couple years ago,
2000,
Matt Castle came in. Did anything change? Did they stop winning games? Did all of a sudden they fall apart? They didn't. All right. When Brady got hurt recently, you know, and he
got suspension.
Suspension. And all of a sudden, it was supposed to be all over, right? They weren't supposed to win a game. They still won. So I'm telling you that, you know, Brady is an amazing, amazing, amazing quarterback, okay? Belichick is an amazing, 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 amazing coach, okay? And those two together has formed this beast of the New England Patriots. So I'm not taking any credit away from Belichick.
But that's the crux of the argument right there. Because you use 4 amazings for Tom Brady, 4 amazings for Coach Belichick. But at the end of the day, we can't leave it like that. We got to pick a side.
One of them wants an extra
yeah, exactly. I want to be, you know, Tom's like, hold on, I got the ball. Coach Belichick's like, I'm doing all the shopping. I'm putting all this together. I'm the reason that it goes out there. Somebody wants 51%. Now, that's the crux of this.
Right.
No, we can't know.
I'm going right down the middle.
I'm going to remind you, just the other day, right here in Santa Monica, California, Tom Brady held the mic and said he's not appreciated enough by a franchise for which he won last year's MVP and threw for 505 yards, a playoff record in the Super Bowl. He's going on 41 years of age, and he's not appreciated enough.
I think that was probably more of a joke than anything. I don't really believe that Tom really believes that he's not appreciated enough in New England. I mean, if you're in one organization in this league to where as though it's not for long and you get kicked to the side whenever something bad happens or whatever, he's been in that team for how many years now? There's no way that you're not appreciated and you've been in one organization for that long. So, I mean, he had to have been joking.
No.
There's no way. There's no way he's...
I think the organization appreciates him. I don't think he thinks his head coach appreciates him.
And it might be something with Robert Kraft, too. You know, because... He's kind of trying to keep everything together. So, what did he call him? The guy that owns the team?
Yeah.
The guy.
You think he changed it in his phone when he FaceTimes it now to the guy? Should Lamar Jackson be on the field week 1 for the Ravens? We'll discuss that next.